Okay, welcome to Strimzi Community Call on Thursday, the 30th of October. So today, let's start off with PRs and issues. So the first one here we have got here on the list is improve readability of the contribution list in the README. So this is a pull request. I don't know who added this. Anyone want to volunteer to add this? It's quite a small change. No? Okay. I guess.
So it's waiting now for like 3 weeks for the comments.
Okay. So I guess
don't
the
know if you
question
want
is,
to push the changes there or close it or.
it was quite a small change, wasn't it? So presumably somebody could just grab it and add the suggested changes and we could merge it.
You can also push it into the PR if you want.
Yeah. Have we got Paul on the call?
Really looks like Oktoberfest PR.
Yeah, it looks like someone playing with AI or with.
Yeah.
Right. So what do we want to do? Does anyone want to volunteer to pick this up and get this in? Do we close it?
I can do it if you want to get it in.
Okay. Do you want me to add a comment or are you happy to?
No, I will do it right now.
Cool. Right, next. Is this one in a similar vein? Oh, this is this one. Okay, so we had a discussion about this in the previous community call about adding the S390X build status badge to the README, and there is now a pull request open, and a bunch of people are approved, but then I obviously added a comment feeling that I wasn't sure of the suggested change. So I guess we have quite a few maintainers on the call, whether it's worth just a quick chat here of what we think and what we want. So my main concern with what we have is, so when you look at the Strimzi README page, we have obviously the badges here at the top. And then if you scroll down a bunch, down here, we have this section that says architecture support, Linux on IBM Z, and it says build passing. This badge represents a community-led initiative and is not officially endorsed by the Strimzi project maintainers. And to me, this section here on its own could be slightly confusing because the title says architecture support. So my immediate assumption as a person coming to this project would be, oh, these are the architectures that they build for or whatever. And then we've just got the one listed. So I would kind of assume like, oh, okay. And obviously I know that they're running tests, they're not doing a build, but the badge says build passing. So my immediate assumption on glancing at this would be, okay, the only binaries that they build are for Linux on IBM Z. So that was my feedback on this issue was, I think this is a good place to put it in terms of it's clearly separated from the other badges we have at the top. But to me, the text we have here is confusing. I haven't actually come up with what would be better text.
It's funny enough that I think I approved it, but for the OAuth PR, which is about the same, I exactly commented that architecture support with just S390X is misleading.
Yeah.
So should we call it something like community testing?
Yeah, community testing sounds like a good option. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I was going to suggest something starting with community, so I'm fine.
Cool. Okay, let's do community testing then. Where's that PR gone? Let me go back to it from here. Okay, so What was it? Architecture support. It's confusing. What did you say? Community testing.
Yeah.
We'll tag there. Cool. Okay, perfect. And hopefully they'll do the same on the other one as well. So is this the same issue?
It's different person,
Okay.
but
Right.
yeah, maybe you can.
Yeah, let me grab a link to this comment. Right. Cool.
So just to stick for a while with the discussion we had on the original PR, Kate.
Yes.
So should we add somewhere some more information about what do we actually support for the platforms?
So
Because I think we probably list somewhere the 4 platforms we support, but we don't really list the levels we support. Because like when we edit the different platforms, we basically stated in the release notes and in the changelog that, for example, we build the binaries, but we don't test it. But these platforms are there for 3 years or something like that now. Nobody who starts today is going to read these old changelogs, right? So it might be useful to at least open an issue so that we add somewhere the state of the support for these different platforms to say that AMD 64 and ARM 64 now with the GitHub Actions we are actually testing, and that the IBM ones that's community testing only.
Yeah, I think so. The thing I wondered about, and I haven't had a chance to look into this, is obviously we have these things at the top here, and whether we could have additional badges here that have the architectures, or like you say, like similarly to it being added down here, whether we could have it there. But I feel like it would be useful to have somewhere that kind of explicitly states like these are the ones that we're building the binaries for, because I don't think we kind of have that anywhere, at least not easily accessible.
We have something similar, or at least something that maybe we want to have on the operator in the bridge. If you go to the bridge repo, you can see there is a table where we have the different architecture, the status, and if they are tested or not.
So yeah, so we could have like community tested there, like
Yeah, instead of
Well,
no, we can have community tested.
I mean, they are all community tested, right? I guess.
well, yeah, it depends what you
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to go ahead and raise an issue for
Yeah.
doing something like this?
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way.
Cool. I will do that after this call. Does anyone have any other pull requests or issues that they want to add for discussion that aren't here already? Cool. We have a proposal.
Yeah, it was me. Shubham has been waiting for too long, having a review from other maintainers. And now GitHub decided to stop working.
It's possible it's my internet. We'll see.
No, it's because there are too many comments.
Yeah, it's a really
Oh.
big discussions there.
Which issue is it?
It's the auto rebalance on self-healing, the auto rebalance
Right,
self-healing
yes.
related stuff. So the latest to comment were me and Jakub. I see some other folks who left comment maybe in August and they didn't come back again. And yeah, across the active maintainers, the other missing are UK and Paul. So
Yeah.
I think that this proposal should move forward. It's from July, so
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I'm happy if we have enough approvals for it to go ahead. I'm happy for it to not wait for me. I guess the question is whether you feel you have enough approvals or if you feel
It doesn't have a single approval.
Yeah, there is no approvals.
Like-
we are still
Hey, I've
discussing.
managed to load it.
But Paolo, that's question on you. Like, why do you feel like the others should go and review it right now when you didn't approve it and don't feel like it's good enough?
To be honest, last time when I was opening the proposal, there were like 20 comments from other maintainers, and I didn't basically it didn't make sense to me do the review once the comments are not built into the proposal. So that might be the better way how to proceed with as well. At first,
So
go on.
What I know is that, or at least I can think with Shubham. Maybe Shubham is not resolving the discussion that are resolved, or maybe who made the comment didn't resolve them, or maybe, but I'm not sure about that, Shubham didn't push all the changes. I can sync with him to be sure that he pushed all the change regarding the comments that were made, resolve all the comments, or the people who made comments, me including, if the change was done, then we should resolve. So that if you think that the problem, Jakub stays calm in this case, is that you see a lot of comments that are still there unresolved and you are not jumping into it, then we should fix that first. But
I mean, it's fine to have the open comments that are already outdated and resolved in the code. However, at the time when I was looking into the proposal, the changes was not committed. So maybe I just hit the wrong time window, let's say.
yeah, the last thing that I had with Shubham said to me that he pushed all the changes after Jakub's comment, after my last comments. There was mostly questions, not change to apply during the last pass.
So to be honest, it's a shame that Shubham isn't here, but I guess the time of this call doesn't work for
late.
India.
Yeah.
So like the thing with proposals is that a lot of the questions, and especially with a proposal like it is with 300 conversations, you say that there are questions which don't have any changes, but I think the best way how to actually handle any questions is by updating the proposal and answering them in the proposal. You know, because like you have 300 comments now here. Some of them were automatically resolved by GitHub because the line changed. Maybe the line changed with something completely different. Then it does these, you see these two hidden conversations load more. These will be all over the page, hiding unresolved and resolved comments and so on. So it's pretty easy to get lost in what's actually resolved and what's not resolved. So the best way, if there is some question, is to answer it in the comment, but also answer it in the proposal itself. Because honestly, if I now come to it, I won't be going through the comments I had last time. I will be just reading the document again. Because GitHub doesn't give you a way how to kind of figure out which of the comments are still relevant or not.
To be honest, I don't know if that's the case, but a lot of times when I review proposal and I ask questions, I don't expect that the answer to the question is in the proposal. It's maybe something that I don't understand. So I expect, can you explain? And then when I understand, maybe I don't think that that explanation has to go into the proposal. Maybe something has to go. So I clearly say, sorry, I didn't understand. So can you put this clearly in the proposal? Or otherwise, I just say,
Yeah,
okay, now I understand and resolve.
I'm not saying that it's something you have to do as a rule, right? But if I ask a question in a comment and you respond in the comment, if it's a simple proposal with just the two of us talking, then I will see the response. If it's a PR with 288 parallel conversations from 8 different people, you get pretty quickly lost at what answer was to your comment, what was to someone else's comment, what's resolved, what's not resolved, and so on. So like, I'm just saying that as a suggestion, what I try to do with my proposals in these cases is to reply to you to the comment so that you get the reply if you manage to figure out that it's for your comment, but also update it in the text, right? Because then you don't get people asking the same question again and again. But with 300 different comment conversations, it's much easier to kind of see, just read again the whole proposal from the beginning to the bottom to see if you have any new questions. Like, I'm not saying that's how we should do it. I'm kind of just saying that that's the approach which I found working for me.
No, yeah, what I was trying to say is that not all the answer maybe makes sense to go into the proposal. This is maybe you are right. Some answer are the explanation to clarify things. So it means that the proposal was not so clear. So it's important to put that answer in the proposal. Maybe other answer are just, I don't know, some tiny things that you didn't understand, but it was pretty clear. It was just you or me in most of the cases. So there is not a strict rule. Any answer should go into proposal, right? Anyway, I will think again with Shubham is not here, trying to push as much as possible, maybe from the answer and resolve the comments that he thinks are resolved. And then at that point, I don't know if everything is resolved, if everything is pushed from the Shubham point of view, this proposal should have another pass from everyone.
Yeah, I think if Shubham feels he's addressed all of the comments, I think it would be useful to add an additional comment stating, like, I think this is resolved, tagging the people who've already reviewed to say, can you review again? Or even just clicking the button to kind of re-request review from people, just to make it clear. Because, yeah, I'm assuming what's happened is those who've already commented are unsure whether their comments have been addressed. And yeah, I mean, for me, this is something that I've said I will look at, but haven't really got to. And given the sheer number of people that have commented and the sheer number of comments that appear to be unresolved, then as I can't remember, it was Jakob or someone else said, or Marosh said, it's kind of like, is it worth going through it as a new reviewer if there's a load of comments that haven't been resolved? So yeah, if Shubham can verify that he's resolved the comments, and then the people who've already reviewed once can then re-review, and then we can also get additional reviews at that point. But yeah.
So I'm not sure the advice to kind of request a new review is the best one, because that lose the information who reviewed it and who didn't.
What, in terms
So,
of ticking the button?
yeah, because right now you can kind of nicely see that these 5 people plus the 3 non-maintainers, they had some comments, right? And like, there might be people who have some comments and will never approve it. So like, it's not strict rule, but like in general, these people commented. So these are the people you should kind of go to and ask them if they have some more comments, if it looks good now, because you know that they commented, right? Like, you never touched it, so maybe you are not interested, so maybe I'm not going to ask you to review it again, but Paolo had some comments, so if I want disapprove, then I would go to Paolo and say, hey, Paolo, you had some comments here, are they resolved now? Can you approve it? And so on. So like that's one of the advantage of not clicking this request review button.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I want to get back to the beginning as well. Like when I asked Paolo why he's asking others to review it while he himself didn't approve it, it was not necessarily meant as a hit against Paolo, but I sometimes have the feeling when I'm reviewing the proposals as well that kind of everyone is waiting for others to review it and approve it, and only then they will come and review it and approve it. And at the same time, nobody wants to be the first to review it and approve it. So it's kind of cycle in which the proposals end up forever like this one when Paolo thinks others should review it, but he himself didn't approve it and so on. So I think people should try to really look at the proposal alone and not who already approved it or didn't approve it and who commented, and try to kind of do this independently. I think that's the right way to move forward, not to wait for the others to do something.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it is. I think the thing for me is if I'm one of the first to review a proposal, then I'll approve it if I think it's approvable or add comments. And if I've added comments, then I'll go back, and if I think it's good, I'll approve it. I think the problem with this proposal is potentially all the people who reviewed it once don't want to review it again because they're not sure if their comments have been addressed. And then for people like myself who haven't reviewed it, if I don't know if all of those comments have been addressed, it doesn't necessarily feel productive for me to add even more comments at this point. And like somebody else was saying, potentially it's more productive for me to wait until all the existing comments have been reviewed and addressed before I then add more comments on. But I agree, like if you're one of the first to approve,
if everyone is waiting for everyone else to do it first because that makes them more productive, then it leads to the proposals like this and the Kafka Roller 2.0 and all the others we have there opened forever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I approve.
Where everyone is waiting for others to be more productive and nobody's really approving anything or even rejecting anything. And we are kind of stuck there forever.
Yeah, so for the other, what's going to unlock you?
Sorry, Paolo, and no, Kate, you did not approve the Kafka Roller proposal.
Okay, maybe I didn't approve that one. Sorry.
So I was saying, what's the way to unlock this one? For sure, I will sync with Shubham, making sure that he addressed all the comments. He pushed all the changes so that the other people, including me, can see that everything is resolved, that this proposal deserves another pass. And yeah, I will be the first one if I'm okay to pass and approve. This will unlock the others, or
so
I don't know.
My take, Paolo, is you can absolutely ask Shubham if he thinks he incorporated everything. But I think the first approvals are the signals for others that that's now their productive zone to review it. So yeah, you should read it for yourself. And if you are fine with what it says, then you should approve it.
Yeah, that's fun because I don't think that that's the way. I mean, one waiting for the first approval and then, okay, let's go. One approval, it means that it's in a good state.
I'm not saying it's the right way. I'm saying that's how it works. And trust me, I tried to wait out people on many proposals in the past. It never works. So if you want to push this proposal, then my advice is bite the sour apple. I don't know if that makes sense in English. and just review it yourself and approve it, and then hope that others will join, or at least you will be in much better position in bitching about others not approving it. Sorry for the dictionary. Sorry for the language. And yeah, then hopefully we get this over the line.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's the right way to do things, but I think that's the way which works, or is most likely to work.
Yeah, I do hope that we are not going to talk about the same in 2 weeks again. After another review, maybe after the approval, if that's ready from my point of view.
Well, as I said, I think definitely tag the people who've reviewed it once to say, oh, the comments have been resolved, please take another look. And then at least that will hopefully get things moving as well. Cool. Any more proposals that anyone wants to talk about? Okay. Before we go into issue triage, do we want to talk about timings of the next meeting? Because issues triage can take in. I think we've got enough issues in issues triage. We won't get through them all anyway. So is anyone opposed to us talking about meeting timings now? Okay, I'm gonna talk about it then. I'm gonna add it here. So the daylight saving has stopped now in the UK and Europe, which means that the meeting times have all changed. Potentially all of you have noticed this. It now means that the timings of the morning meetings in the UK, which is where I'm based, are at 8 a.m., which makes it harder for me to get to them because of childcare. So I was wondering about whether we should or could adjust the times of the meetings in order to make it easier for myself and other people, I guess, from the UK to make the meetings. And we had a brief discussion about this with myself and some of the other maintainers, and about the timings of the other meetings as well, and what works for different people. I made a large table. I think it's correct. I did get some help from the internet, but time zones are confusing. I'm going to paste it here, I guess. I have no idea what format this is going to come out in. Oh, that's not helpful, is it? Hang on, let me see if I paste it with the formatting, if that's better. There we go.
Just
so
tell
I
the Gemini UI to reformat it.
Well, yes, I may have had some UI help to make it in the first place, but it's slightly confusing because summer and
so you mean we should absolutely not trust what's in the table because it was AI generated?
Well, no, I said I had help. I have been checking it, and it's confusing because the thing that I understand but AI does not is that the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere have summer and winter at a different time. So I think these times are correct. Have I missed a time off the bottom? No, some of these don't have the Wellington time. I don't think I added them to the last few. But I think these times are mostly correct. So the summer and the winter is summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the northern hemisphere, not in the southern hemisphere. So these are the timings. So I have two potential timings for the morning meetings. I think we have two choices. One is, do we want to change the time? And two is, do we want to change the time so that it sticks to a particular time in a particular country as opposed to UTC? So today we have a UTC-based meeting, which means that in the summer and the winter, it is a different time for those that observe daylight saving. My personal opinion, having done a bunch of thinking about this and a bunch of looking, is that although it would be personally more convenient to stick it to, for example, London time or the time in Berlin, so that because the UK and Europe change at the same time, so that the time doesn't change, that then makes it more confusing for other countries, because I have had personal experience of having meetings where someone is in the US, for example, and then the meeting randomly changes time, and it turns out it's because the US time zone changed and I didn't realize that it changed, and that causes confusion. So I do think there is benefits to sticking to UTC. For the morning meeting at the moment, what we have is this. So if you're in any of these locations and these times are wrong, then please say. But I believe in the summer in London, it's at 9 a.m. and then in the winter, it's 8 a.m. So 10 and 9 in Europe. And we could move it an hour later. So that would personally benefit me. It would mean that it would be at 10 a.m. during the summer and then 9 a.m. during the winter. But it does mean that it's later for those in New Zealand and Australia. So that's the morning meeting, and then the afternoon meeting, I've put 3 different time slot options. I don't think the last one is really feasible because it means it's late for majority of the people who join this call. But at the moment we have it at 4 p.m. UTC, which is then 5 and 4 for the UK. And then I wonder if we could move it an hour earlier. So put it at 3 p.m. UTC, which would mean that it's at 4 and 3 p.m. in the UK and 5 and 4 p.m. in Europe. So if I was making a proposal of what times we would pick, because of it just being slightly less confusing with the time zone changes, I think sticking with UTC is probably useful, but moving it an hour later for the morning meeting and an hour earlier for the afternoon meeting. However, it does mean we don't cover quite so much of the globe.
Yeah, you are moving them against each other, so you essentially reduce the possibility of people outside of Europe to join.
Yes. So I've put in 2 US locations, so East Coast and West Coast. So if you're in the US in general, you would only join the afternoon meeting. So it would mean that if you're on the West Coast, Northeast, South, West Coast, then it would be an 8 a.m. meeting and then a 7 a.m. meeting. So those would be quite early meetings if you were there, but I'm not sure we have anyone that joins often. And then equally for the morning meeting, it would mean it would be quite late in the day. It'd be 9 and 10 p.m. for people in New Zealand. But again, we don't often have people joining. So it's the question of whether we want to optimize for the people who are here or whether we just leave it as is and people are fine with the current timings. I don't know if people have opinions here or we can just go away and think about it.
Now, the only thing about the morning one, so I'm fine, of course, changing because there is not that much different for Berlin, even if I don't know why you didn't pick Rome instead of Berlin.
There's only one city which is in the middle of Europe, and it's Prague, Paolo.
Okay, or Prague, but just Berlin. There is no one in Berlin.
I felt I couldn't pick any cities that wouldn't be like, someone wouldn't be like, why didn't you pick this city?
No, what I was going to say, the only drawback that I see on moving the morning one is for Tokyo, where maybe I don't know if 6 p.m. is late for Luke, who has the opportunity to join during the morning one. This is the only drawback.
Yeah, and he's not actually here at the moment, so we can't get his opinion.
Yeah, because it's late for him in the afternoon, right? It's a.m. in the morning now, so yeah.
Yeah, currently because Tokyo, in Japan they don't change time, so the fact that it's UTC means that it's exactly the same time all the time. Okay. Potentially, I don't know if we have an outcome or not. I can go away and chat to Luke separately and see what his thoughts are.
What you can do, Kate, is go to the Strimzi Slack channel.
Yeah.
And ask the people there if there is anyone who feels like he would be joining the community calls regularly, but cannot because of the time zone issues.
Yeah.
If there's like, I don't know about anyone personally who would be eager to join but cannot because he lives in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So if we don't know these people and if we don't find anyone on Slack, then maybe we should prioritize what fits us. And if someone from us, or if we have new maintainers and so on from different time zones, we can talk about changing it. but I think it's a bit, yeah, there's a lot of focus on different places, but nobody's joining from these places today. So would this help them to join, or is it that it doesn't really matter at all?
Yeah, I think for me, if we look back at the attendees and my understanding of where they're joining from, I think these ones in the middle are the ones that we actually have people regularly joining from.
Yeah, keep in mind that not everyone signs up, right? Tina, for example.
Yeah. But Tina's in the UK with me, so
Yeah, I know, but like you can't fully
no,
rely on
yeah,
the...
I get your point. So yeah, I think the only point that I kind of feel strongly on, which is different from what I originally proposed when I brought this up in the maintainers chat, is I feel we ought to probably stick with UTC based meeting. Does anyone disagree with that? Okay. So I will take this to the Slack channel with the kind of question around these are the two timing options and would it affect people if we change them? And then we'll see. But I guess this is maybe a warning that like if we decided to change it, it could be that the meeting in 2 weeks' time in the morning could change time. So for anyone watching who was planning to join, I guess be aware, but watch out on Slack for more discussions. And feel free to comment on here if my timings are wrong, because as I say, I did double check them, but yeah. Okay, so let's go to issues triage then. So this first one, we triaged last week and we haven't had a response from the users, but this was only in the last community call, so I'm happy for us to just leave this for the next community call unless anybody objects.
Wait, we already left it for the next community calls, the 2 community calls
Oh,
before.
did we? Ah, I hadn't spoiled that one. But we've only left it for one community call where we tagged the person raising. So I think it's reasonable to leave it for one more for them to respond, and then if they don't respond, then to close at that point. Or do something with it.
Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
Okay. So these two, I guess we can remove the needs triage because we've decided. We obviously said that we wanted the badge and then asked what do they think, but they've gone ahead and created the thing. So I think we can just remove the needs triage from here, right? And then the same on the other one. I'm not going to add a comment because I don't think it's needed. Okay. This one. So this is a issue raised by Jakob around the way we're getting hold of the trusted certificate secret during the reconciliation loop for Connect and Mirrormaker 2. I can't remember if I checked this of whether, but it sounded very plausible to me that we're getting it twice, and I agree that if we are, we should optimize.
Are you saying you doubt what I wrote there?
Well, no, I think I was gonna go like see the code to see if I could suggest a way that we could optimize, but I don't know if I ever got around to actually doing that. But yeah,
I don't think
I
it's
guess
hard to optimize it, but it's a tricky thing to test a bit.
potentially.
But it's basically like we didn't always copy the things into our secret and loaded them through the providers. We mounted them as a volumes, and that's why we had this separate method to get the values and hash them. But now that isn't really needed, at least for a lot of the certificates where we already kind of copy it and so on. So
Yeah. We do have in some of the other reconciliation loops, at least for getting the certificates to use to talk to Kafka, we have methods higher up in the reconciliation loop where we get them once and reuse them. So I wonder if we could do something similar. But regardless, to me, I feel like this is an obvious, yes, we should do this.
Yeah.
Do we want help for this one? Is anyone on the call wanting to do it, or should I put help wanted in case somebody else wants to pick it up? Okay, I'll add help wanted, and if anybody wants to pick it up, they can. And
Well, they will come asking you how to do it. Hopefully
Well,
not me.
yeah. Well, yeah, I might get to it at some point, but I feel like not soon. So if anyone else wants to pick it
No,
up.
you should go and add the comment that it was triaged
Oh, yeah.
so that it's your comment there and people are asking you. I'm not joking.
No, I know you're not joking. Um, um, okay. Next. Open by Lukash. So this is around the way we're getting configuration for the classes. Is Lukash on the call?
Yeah, so I told him to open it, I think.
Do you want to talk to them?
So basically, for whatever reason, the images which we use are part of the cluster operator configuration. But for whatever reason, we are not using the cluster operator config class as for all other configurations. We get them through a static method in the model classes, which seems a bit strange. And I thought it might make more sense to just have these in the operator config and pass it through the config. So that's kind of
Makes
yeah,
sense.
why ask him to open it? I guess it will make the code slightly cleaner from the formal perspective, slightly more complicated because you have to pass the config through to the right places. You can't just call system get env in whatever place you find you need it.
But it'll make it easier to reason about what configuration is available.
Yeah, it will also make it easier to, for example, test that it's using the right image, right? Because if you get something from system get env, you actually never test that you get the right value in the unit tests, for example.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should do this. I feel like this is probably something that for someone who knows a bit more about the internals, so do we not want to put help wanted on this one? I mean,
Yeah, probably, but it probably applied to the previous one as well.
I feel like the previous one, like I don't know, I don't know, I feel like the core parts of Strimzi are easier as a starting point. I'm not saying it's a good start issue, but I just feel like it's slightly more accessible. I feel like, but I'll remove the needs triage.
Yeah, anyway, like help wanted.
Yeah, okay.
If someone comes and asks,
Yeah.
we will not reply as always.
Okay, this is one that I feel like my head is not enough space to understand it.
No, the only thing for this, I think that we should have a poll as well on the call.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but so with the plans for the release, we should maybe agree on it before the next community call.
It's It's around just the ordering of the words, right? Of whether it's the Strimzi or the CRD v1 or the v1 CRD or the Strimzi v1 API or the API. I don't think API v1 makes sense.
Do you really want to discuss this at 6 p.m. At least for me in the afternoon?
Do we need to discuss this on this call, or do we think we can get there via the comments?
I don't know. Maybe we should have a special call for that.
Yeah, I agree with Jakob that we
comment.
should make a decision because of the release. So that's a fair point.
I mean, it currently used the name which I invented, so I'm fine to do the release with that name, of course, but
So this needs to be decided soon. I mean, I agree that I think using subtly different names in different places makes sense. I think we just need to agree that the ordering. I mean,
yeah,
to
the thing
me,
is that once
these
you decide
sentences-
that you are going to use different names in different places, you can't agree on anything here, right? Because you will not be able to describe correctly the place where this name should be used and the place where this name should be used and so on.
But so in the moment in our documentation, do we have like V1? I can't remember what our current API version is. Is V1 beta 1, or do we have that reference places, or is it more just talking about when we're introducing it elsewhere? It needs to be.
You in general don't reference it too often when you use just one API version.
Yeah.
Because it's basically given. It's all the change logs and all the documentation around the API version changes where we talk about it, right? Once we get to 1.0 and we drop the old version, my guess is that it will pretty much drop from the whole documentation, the V1 references as well. They will be just in the old stuff.
Rereading this thread is so Paul was suggesting Strimzi v1 API or Strimzi v1 CRD. Whereas, and then which one were you suggesting, Paolo? CRD v1 API? I think the benefit of referring to
at the
CRD
beginning. No,
clearer.
yes, at the beginning it was CRDV1 API, but yes, I think that using Strimzi in some form would help as well. So we'll clarify more as Paul is suggesting.
So we want to go with Paul's comment 3 weeks ago at the bottom of Kate's screen.
This one.
Well,
I mean,
now at the top.
yeah. I think having CRD in the term that we use actually like across the board is potentially clearer, because what is an API? Like we have the API, we have the API package that we push to Maven and everything, and that's well, I suppose.
Yeah, but Kate, the problem is, I guess, for different levels of different users. So you have the CRD API, which is the Kubernetes API extension.io API, which used to have this V1 beta 1 version. Then it introduced this V1 version.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we have been dealing with in the last conversion. You know, that's the Kubernetes API.
Yeah.
Then what we are really talking here about is actually the CR's API, really, because what we are talking about is the API used by the custom resources and not the custom resource definitions. So that's one of the reasons why this CRD yes, CRD not gets a bit complicated and chaotic for the users who actually know what CRD API is, for the users who might remember that the last migration was actually also about V1 CRDs, because we had to do the changes to migrate from the V1 Beta 1 CRDs to the V1 CRDs. But in this case, it was actually the API extension Kubernetes API and not the Strimzi API version and so on.
Yeah. So using the word Strimzi in front then makes it more explicit.
Yeah, that.
Yes.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I think everything will be confusing if you look at it from the right angle.
Yeah.
So
But
if you
like,
ask me, I vote if I am for having Strimzi in the name. So Strimzi V1 CRD or Strimzi CRD V1, then the order is not that much important for me.
and would you use just the Strimzi V1 API somewhere, as Paul suggested?
I think I would personally vote for us using Strimzi V1 CRDs, because I think most of the time that's probably.
Yeah, but you know, when you are talking about the group ID field being required in Kafka Connect V1 API, that's the CR/the API and not the CRDs. Whereas when you are talking about, you have to make sure that when upgrading to Strimzi 049, you install the new CRDs with the V1 CRD API. That again sounds a bit differently.
But would you in that case be able to say the Strimzi V1 Kafka Connect CRs?
Yeah, you can say that, I think.
I just feel like the word API is quite ambiguous. Like what you're.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid, that for some users it will not be clear that the API means the custom resources.
Yeah, that's my concern as well.
Yeah. So should we go just with Strimzi V1 CRDs? Do we use right now in the documentation in any place something like V1 Beta 2 API or not? I don't remember.
I don't think so, but as I said, we don't really talk about the API version in the documentation right now, because there's just
V1 Beta 2.
one of them, right? So
Yeah.
So quick search tells me that the only references to V1 Beta 2 in the documentation are actually around the fields which are supported only in the API. So where we basically have like, this field is supported only in the V1 Beta 1 API and we have to stop using it.
Yeah.
Are we happy with proposing this?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh. I'm going to remove need strict then. Okay. Do we have time for one more? We have 1 more minute.
No, we should. Let's discuss 2 other things. For everyone watching the recording, there will be KubeCon, where we will be. So join our talks, and if you have anything, let us know. We can go for a coffee or whatever. And also, I think that means that me and Paolo will be unable to join probably the next call. Or
yes,
I guess
right.
Yeah, it will be the morning one, so it will be some terrible time in the US. So I guess for the rest of you, you should think about whether you should cancel it or whether you will have enough people to have it.
Yeah, we'll have a discussion then and see whether we go ahead or whether we cancel that one anyway. You said there were two things. Was there something else you wanted to talk about as well?
No, that's where the two things.
Okay, cool.
That people should join the KubeCon talks we have, and that
Yeah.
those not at KubeCon should talk whether they want to have the next community call or not.
Cool. And then, yeah, if anyone cares about meeting timings, then feel free to look out and see the lovely timetable. Cool. Okay. Speak to you all later then.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.